Salut! So I'm finally back from Italy. I learned a lot about mozzarella making. Let's put this to good use. So welcome back to the mozzarella making series. This episode is about following the Italian tradition to the closest. So in case you missed it, I strongly suggest you watch the episode 3 of the series, just because it was shot in Italy. And if you need another reason, well, it's gonna be super helpful to understand everything that is happening in this episode. Well, there are plenty of things I need to change in terms of technique, timing, process, but I guess it all starts with one key ingredient, and Benito was super specific about this. Milk. So I will share with you more details along the way, but for now we need to get going because the milk I have in mind is super limited in terms of supplies. Welcome back to France. I'm sure the sound is just delightful now, isn't it? Whatever. It's raining outside. What do you expect? Right, so Benito told me that I wanted to get the freshest, so the most unprocessed milk I could get my hands on. And in France, I know only one milk that, matches all those specifics, and it's called lait cru de vache jersiaise. Jersey cow's milk is twice as fat as regular whole milk, and because it is raw, it has all the bacterial activity which I need to curdle the milk properly and to add even more flavors. Honestly, I'm not that much concerned with the bacterial situation right here. You see, raw milk is indeed risky, but the mozzarella making process involves boiling water at the end, which temperature is way higher than the pasteurization temperature, so should be fine. Well, I know what you're thinking. He told us not to worry, and yet he's putting gloves on. Well, you see, it has nothing to do with what I just said. It's just that somebody in here needs to learn how to safely handle a hot glue gun. Okay, that's a stupid problem. So in terms of quantities, I'm gonna use about a gallon of milk, which is, 3.8 liters. The color is different. It's much more yellow, or more likely to be cream colored. La mozzarella, fata, and la cassa. So first we need to heat the milk to about 38 degrees Celsius. That's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But we need to do this slowly, gently, without stopping from stirring. The milk is now ready for me to add the culture. Of course, I'm gonna tell you a bit more about this very specific bacterial culture. But first, let's just work a bit more. A good thermometer is probably the only real, tech piece of equipment you will need in this cheese making adventure. Depending on your budget, you can find super cheap or super expensive one. I'll post a few links in the description box down below. To speed things up, I've started on the stove right there, but afterwards we're gonna be in here. I'm setting up a warm water bath, just because it's gonna be more gentle, more uniform, and also more stable. So just for your information, the water bath is at 45 degrees Celsius, and that should keep my milk nice and warm during the ripening process, which lasts around 60 minutes. To make cheese the traditional way, you need to use bacteria as known as a culture. Let's see if my theoretical blue fridge behind me has something to say about this. The first type of lactic acid bacteria is called mesophilic. And those bacteria have, I'm sure, loads and loads of qualities, but I'm not interested that much into them because basically they can't stand the heat. And that's why we're using the second type called thermo. I'm probably too close. I'm not probably too close. I'm definitely too close. So those bacteria are more or less performing the same action than these, breaking down the lactose, but these can stand the heat, and that's super useful when you're making mozzarella. You can buy each of those culture online. I'll share a few links down below. Right, the milk is now ready. It's time to add rennet. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 drops, but they need to be diluted in a bit of water. Now you're supposed to stir in an up and down motion for 30 seconds. So, and then this needs to rest for about 60 minutes until the curds actually appear. Oh, this is exciting. Well, you see, at the cheese factory, the guy did not use a knife to cut the curd. They use a spherical knife, which is called in Italian a spino. I want a spino. Where do I buy a spino? You can't buy a spino. Well, this is an easy fix, right? And there you go. This is how you make a DIY spino. You don't make a DIY spino, you make a spino. Damn it! This is exactly what you should get. You should get something that looks soft, but still like a custard. You should get some whey floating on top, and then you should get the side slightly coming off. You see? So now those beautiful curds needs to rest for about 30 minutes until they settle gently at the bottom of the pot. By the way, if it gets a little less warm, then you can always top it all up with fresh hot water. Come closer. So in Italy they remove the excess whey with a water pump or whey pump. So I've been cleaning and sanitizing this beautiful clear tubing, but it's only solving half the problem. I still need something to suck out all the liquid. I mean, I could... No. There is no way in a million years I'm gonna... And now back in the water bath it goes, and that resting period is called the maturation of the curd. We are basically waiting for the curds to be acidic enough to be stretched into beautiful mozzarella ball. It could take 2 to 4 hours. So performing the test is fairly easy. First off, you need to pick up a bit of those curds, place them in a strainer, and then drop some boiling water on them. It's starting to stretch. It's starting to stretch, but it's not ready yet. So a bit of a bad news, a bit of a kickback. In fact, it's 9 PM. I've been doing loads of tests. And I can't seem to stretch this bad boy. I mean, I do get some stretch, but it's not amazing. It's just like a tiny stretch. The worst in this whole story is that it's all my fault. I was too impatient, again, should I say, to order the proper stuff. So I went for a random, unbranded, whatever, thermophilic culture, which did produce nothing satisfying at the end. Like, merde. So I need to stop, I need to get some rest, and I need to think. Because basically now it's too late to order something online. So, I guess, yes. Me. Okay, so yesterday at my place I made this. This is active yogurt. I inoculated the milk yesterday night with a yogurt starter. Yogurt bacteria in most cases are thermophilic instead of mesophilic, so I hope this is gonna solve it. The texture is very different than milk. It's closer to buttermilk, but a bit more slimy. Right, and now I'm starting another batch with this. You know, a quick word, the more and more I get into this cheese making process, and the more I see the similarities with the sourdough bread making process. Seriously, you need to have a starter, you need to take good care of bacteria, which are, by the way, lactic acid bacteria, and then you expect them to do something good for the, general outcome of the experiment. Like, for bread, it would be using the CO2 they produce just to have a nice rise, but in this cheese-making case, we're only using the acidifying properties of those bacteria. It's fascinating. Wow. Now that is some proper stretch. Okay, right now to the bench, and before we can actually stretch the mozzarella, we need to drain it. Cut this into small pieces just so that when we heat this, we get a quick and even action. Yeah, I'm excited, but I'm also stressed out because even if it's okay to fail from time to time, it's not okay to Oh la beauty! Oh là là, regarde-moi cette beauty, mais je vais en faire qu'une seule. C'est pas grave, ce sera la mozzarella de la mort. And so this is my first fully traditional mozzarella. Now I'm gonna brine 2 of those in salt. I need to reach the seawater concentration. And now I'm gonna leave the matzo ball in the soup for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna keep one for tasting purposes and the other one Hello, salut, Benito. I just made my first. Can you share your opinion? Ciao, ciao. I'm gonna be sending this to Il Casolare, you know, the cheese factory in Italy, where I saw the whole process. So of course I will keep you guys posted if I get an answer, and if it's a video, I will even post it on this channel right here. So please keep your eyes peeled. Nice. Look at these juices. Not like firm, but it's springy. Now, is the taste better than the one I did with citric acid? Yeah, it's more flavorful. I'm not even sure if it's related to the fact that I used raw meat or the fact that I used a culture, but I sense, you know, that slight freshness and tanginess. Obviously, there is a very strong chance that I'm gonna be roasted by Benito about the quality of my mozzarella, but I hope at least he will give me some credit for the good efforts and the pasta filata technique, which I did perform. So long story short, if you're really into the cheese making process, if you want to become a cheesemaker, or if you're just passionate about cheese, then yes, it is absolutely worth it. But on the other hand, if you're just an amateur, if you love food, but you don't want to neglect your whole life for it, then I thought about something. I thought about hacking the milk. The whole story is not ready yet, so I will probably tell you about this in the next episode. If you enjoyed this video, then please share this on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, just spread it like butter. And last, people, click subscribe because I make new videos every week. It's always about the food, it's always about the madness, I'm afraid. But at the end, it's always about having fun. Take care, bye bye, salut.